Good morning, everybody. How are you? I hope you people are doing well. I'm doing fine. Thank you. So, as you have seen the thumbnail and as you have seen the title, yes, we are gonna to discuss that why did I resign from ONGC. And let me tell you first that ONGC is one of the highest paying public sector undertaking in our country. You talk about ICL, you talk about NTPC, but ONGC has its own brand value and the name. And at the time of when I was preparing, everybody has this dream to get into the ONGC, including me. And in my own understanding, I have very, very good respect for ONGC. So in this video, I'll be telling that why did I resign from ONGC, and I witnessed many of the people have resigned from the ONGC. And at the same point of time, I would like to mention that I have been witnessed that many of the student didn't left ONGC even for the engineering service exams. So it can work, in either way. So in this video, I'll be telling each and everything in the four part. One is that what are the advantage or what are the pros by being into the ONGC. Second is that what are the cons or disadvantage of being into the ONGC. And the third is that I will be comparing both advantage and disadvantage with other oil manufacturing companies. And the third thing is that and the fourth thing is I'll be telling you that why did I left. I will be revealing the reason why did I resign from such high paying and the high prestigious multinational company. So let's talk about the part one is that what are the advantage by being into the ONGC. So there are lot advantage by being into the ONGC, and you will be feeling the feel of the MNC, like the corporate MNC. You will have that kind of feeling. So the first advantage that I will be talking about is the salary, right? You will be having highest amount of the salary in all the public sector organization when you talk about the ONGC. I'm not talking about the allowances. If you add allowances and the salary, your basic salary, it will end up being around 18 CTC, 18 LPA lakh per annum, and it will be the cost to company. And this is something very unbelievable, and you will find that yes, this is true. You will be having a handsome amount of salary, and you will not regret by choosing the ONGC. Second thing is that you will be having an experience of corporate life. Until unless you are posted in the offshore area or some of the field, if you are in the office, you will be having that feel, because ONGC office are really amazing. They are having around a very luxurious lifestyle, and when you go for the training, you will be having that much amount of luxury life. You will be staying in the 4-star 5-star hotel, and I have been witnessed that the people who are even the ITI apprentice people, they are getting the opportunity to stay in the 4-star or 5-star hotel during this COVID time. So in this term, ONGC is best in the business. Third thing is that if you are really keen into the core mechanical work, if you want to apply your knowledge directly, because in the BTech or in some of the MTech, we most of the time study the theoretical part, but if you want to implement your your knowledge into the exact or the groundwork, then ONGC is best. You will not be getting any of the marketing, you will not be getting any of the sales department. You will directly be posted in the onshore area or in the office. So that's something that really inspire for the core mechanical engineer to join ONGC. So this has been some of the positive thing. Now let's talk about the negative thing, and in especially in the negative thing, I'll be talking about my own experience that I had. That's why I left ONGC. So basically I was posted in the offshore area. So let me clarify you. The offshore area is basically the area which lie away from the seashore. Basically you will be staying in the or in between the sea, and you will be staying there for around 14 days. So I had this 14 days on off pattern. I need to work for the 14 days, and the rest 14 days you will be on leave, paid leave, right? So you will be getting all salary for the 28 days, or you can say for whole month, but you will be working on the 14 days on the offshore area. You will be staying there, eating there, sleeping there, working there, everything you will be doing right there. Okay, so by this I want to infer some of the negative point. One is that when you are away from your home, or you are not on the land, you are staying in the some of the platform which is built between the sea. It involves high amount of risk. You are away around 150 kilometer away from the land in the sea, so it involves high amount of the risk. Second thing is that it's something, kind of the worker. You will be feeling like you are worker, or you are more or less an employer rather than being a officer, right? So you will be working there by your own. You need to pack your gloves, so you need to hold the spanner, you need to tight the bolt by your own. Each and everything will be done by you or your senior or your junior, but you will not be having any office kind of work or nothing like that. So if you are if you want to avoid such kind of the physical hardcore work, then you need to think about that. Third thing is that there are 12-hour shift. Like in common time we see that either there is a 7-hour shift, 8-hour shift, 9-hour, or maximum 10-hour shift, but I never heard this 12-hour shift for a officer, or for a a good employee who are entering at the pay scale of E10. So there will be 12-hour shift. You have to work from 7 a.m. in the morning till this 7 a.m. in the evening, right? And the second shift is that night shift from 7 p.m. in the evening till this 7 a.m. in the morning. Though you will be having that lunch break, tea break, but this is basically the continuous cycle. You will be having two shifts in the whole day. So in the 12-hour shift to become really hectic, that you have to work 12 hours, you will be on duty 12 hours in continuation. So that's become really tough when you are doing no physical work. So it's something that I didn't like at the point of time. So this is one of the reason, you can say. Third thing is that when you are on the offshore area, you will not be having anything that what is happening in our country. There is single TV, and many of the people are watching it, and there is nothing fruitful that you can get from that TV. You do not have any access of your mobile. You won't be able to get your mobile to the rig. Second thing is that there is no Facebook, there is no WhatsApp, there is nothing that you can access fruitfully on the internet. You will be having the access of those Google and that Gmail ID and all sort kind of thing, but you won't be having your Instagram or something. So this is, you might feel that it's not my cup of tea. And the last thing that I would like to tell is that there is only two landline, okay, and there are the 100 to 150 people, and they will be talking on that two landline only. So it's become very difficult sometime to talk even to your home. You will hardly manage to talk around 5 minutes or 10 minutes, because there will be queue and there will be people who are going to come and talk with the same telephone, because there is the scarcity. Okay, there are only two landline, and there are the 150 people who will be talking to their family mostly in the evening also only. So there is always competition in order to get the phone. So these are some kind of the negative aspect that I had experienced there. And another thing is that when you are 14 days away from your home, and the second thing is that 14 days you are at your home, is something that disturb your daily life, and that disturb your target also. You will not be having any of the work life balance. You will be leaving your house in every 14 days, and you will not be having any connection that what is happening there in your house. You will not be getting any phone calls, that only you can make the call. So it becomes very hectic and very something that you don't like to have in your life for long. And I have been witnessed that the people are working out there since the last 30 years, 25 years, and I couldn't imagine myself working there for 30 years, 25 years, even for 10 years. So this was something that was the main cause why did I resign from ONGC. So let me talk about something that how ONGC is differ from other PSU. So in terms of salary, I told you is best in the business, but in the case of the IOCL, you will not get any of the offshore posting. Okay, you will not get that kind of the hard work. You would not be, you may not be directly exposed to the hardcore work. You need not to work like a worker, but in the ONGC, yeah, it does happen that you may need to work like a worker. Even after that, you get one promotion, you becomes executive engineer, you get another promotion, you become senior engineer. At that point of time also, you need to work as a worker only if you are going to the offshore area. If you talk about some of my reasons, so yeah, some of those coins that I counted to you, these are the reason why did I left. And the second thing is that also I was selected in engineering service exam in 2018. So that's why that was also one of the reason why did I left ONGC. But ONGC as a company is the best in the business, and you will feel that corporate life and the handsome salary. And it's good, and I wish all you best of luck for your future exam, and I hope you come with flying colors. Thank you.